Oh, yeah. Do one of those. What time is it? All right.
I'm late. Always late.
It's all good. Who the fuck is that?
Who's that? Oh,
I don't know. Who's commenting on their AZ Flip guys?
I would never say that about myself.
1 minute.
What's up, Paul? What's up, Facebook? What's happening? It's AZ Flip guys. It's noon Friday, so here we are. I missed last week. BP took over with Pat. They talked about Haiti, which was good stuff. Hopefully you guys saw that one.
Tell them what you were doing last week.
All right. Well, I was at I'm in a group called EO Accelerator. It's an entrepreneur organization, and so it's all a bunch of business owners who strive to have $1 million gross income each year. And so that's what we're working for. We have mentorship and people so we work together with people who have similar businesses, similar size businesses, and then we get mentored by people who have been there, done that. People who know what they're doing.
Hey Darius, can you do me a favor? Can you close that door right there?
Construction.
Yeah, they got they're doing the house right next door. So my buddy Henry was actually an investor. Is flipping that house, and then eventually he decided that he's just going to move in there with his kids. So they're finishing it up, and they're putting a wall right next to where we normally do the video. So,
well, they don't want to trying to block you off. What's that about?
What do I care?
That's what we do in Arizona. We put up walls, baby.
Yeah.
We don't want to know our
I don't
neighbors.
know, like you don't. Yeah, exactly. You don't really want to know them because if you see, like, if you look at the next door neighbor on that side, he just put up a wall, like probably a year ago or so. But you see where the fence was right here, and then where the wall is right here.
Right.
Like they just ain't trying to.
No more talking. No more talking to your neighbors.
No more saying hi to the neighbors. No more doing any of that stuff. So
in the garage.
Yeah.
The garage. Hey, what are you gonna do?
It is
but
what it is.
We're
so
here. Everybody's here, right? Everybody's online. That's how you talk to your neighbor on Facebook instead of in person. So
right.
That's cool.
Well, and this is why we're doing these type of videos here. This is why we do. We have to do our next property walkthrough. So we did the first one there, but we had some technical difficulties, so it was just kind of cutting in and out from where we were at. But we should definitely do that again. So you were over at the EO event,
yes,
and they were talking about
people. It was People Day. We've got to leverage with people. That's one of the most important thing, So I learned a lot, made a few good contacts, and anytime you have a problem, you just kind of take it to them. And call this guy, call that guy. I think it's more about, instead of the content's great.
Yeah.
But the people and the connections, that's what it's all about.
I mean, we say all the time, it's all about networking. So,
yeah.
Who's that? Lee, how you doing, buddy?
Love.
So, yes, guys, entrepreneur organization. Actually, I was talking to my hard money lender who belongs to.
Yeah,
he's one of the.
He helped get me in.
He's one of the upper guys. Yeah, he was actually talking about getting me in here because I've been waiting on you and somebody else to hook me up with info.
I got no pull.
But he does, so he was like, "Hey, man."
Exactly. That's all you need.
Let's get you in.
That word's worth like 10 more.
Dude, did I tell you when I met with him, he pulled up in a fucking Bentley? Yeah. I was like, fuck.
It's awesome.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
That's one of my dream cars. I want a Bentley for sure.
That's cool.
I like them. They're kind of
they do look nice. They definitely do look nice. They got a nice brown look to them. So anyway, you were doing that. I was talking with Pat here last week. We were talking about the Haiti trip, just kind of giving you guys an update and everything, how that went. So that was pretty cool. And then Pat was talking about building systems. So if you guys are building systems, if you guys want to know about building systems, check out last week's video. I would say the first 20 minutes or so we're probably talking about the Haiti trip. The last part of the videos is when we're actually talking about the systemizations. Pat has created a few systems. I have a few systems going on here with different businesses, so we're all about creating that. But today we want to just talk about creative financing.
Right.
We want to talk about building wealth for the future. But before we get to that, we're just going to do an update like we normally do here every Friday on our deals that we have going on. Yes. So how many deals do we currently have right now?
I just need to start writing this down.
Yeah, you should. How many of them do we have on the market?
Everything's pending. 39th just fell out, but the same day, the day before that, Saragossa went pending. So now you got one, I got one. So everything's pending. There's like 5 or 6 pending. So that's
nice.
That's what we want. We don't want actors. Nice. We want pending. So
and I should close on. I signed yesterday on Flower.
Yes,
and on
those
Clarendon
are closing right now.
So we should have those closed today, and then we'll be able to get everything. Ebony, how you doing?
Hey, Ebony. Yeah, hey, on those guys, if you got Maryvale, where there can be where the carport can be enclosed or the back patio can be enclosed, anything that is within the structure,
I'm interested. But
we want it. We got yes.
Who's that? Check out the AZ Flip guys. I think is that somebody? Is that Paul commenting under there or Ebony?
Yeah, I think Paul's got that on his phone.
Probably. Hey, Ebony, do me a favor, share this on the page, so then we can put it out there. Appreciate it. So we have about 5 different pendings right now.
Right.
We have a few different actives, a few different ones going on the. Oh yeah, that is Paul. Look, he said yes. Paul, fucking awesome. So anyway, we have a few more going right now. We have our Weathersfield property where we did our last video, and then we have to, like I said, we have to come up with a new date, maybe this Saturday coming up,
right,
or something, where we can do another walkthrough.
Yeah, and
we may have to do it with Ebony here, so we can.
Yeah, we got one right now over on Vernon that is just a remodel. It's not a flip, but. It looks pretty good, and it looks just like all our other ones. So
nice.
That'd be good to run through that.
Perfect. Yeah, so we'll be going through some more. Video walkthroughs. As you guys may or may not know, we decided to go through the video walkthroughs now, as opposed to having a weekend meetup like everybody else was doing. We decided to do it all, new age here. Hey, Darius, thank you for joining us. Darius in the house over here joining us here live. Anyway. We wanted to set it over to a video format. That way you can check it out from your house. You don't have to come out on our side of town. Our flips are all over the place. Sometimes they were close to people. Sometimes they were not. Sometimes they couldn't make it because of work, because of child care, whatever things that they had going on. So we decided to put it on video so everybody can watch them and everybody can do that. So keep an eye out on that. Next Saturday, not tomorrow, but next Saturday we'll be doing a video walkthrough at one of our other properties and just kind of giving you a rundown as to what's up with that property, how we got it, what are we doing with it, and just kind of giving you a walkthrough of that. So
yes, absolutely, that's gonna be awesome.
So we have some, like I said, we have some deals going on right now. We got some other deals coming through the pipeline. So if you guys, as I said, you guys are wholesalers, you guys want to work with real buyers that are looking to buy more properties, that are looking to get more properties on the market, send them over our way. Excuse me. We had that great meeting. We had a great meeting with Nate this past weekend. We were speakers, and it was a really good reception. There was a house full of people there. And people want to learn. They want to get in the business, so that's awesome. And that's the great thing about what we have going on here is that if you want to get into the business and you are like I was when I started with no money, no resources, no anything, but you have a good work ethic, you have a thick skin, you want to go out there and make it happen, you're a hustler, male or female, and I've said this shit before, man, but the ladies, if you're a female and you can get past that stuff and you can go and door knock, man, you'll be extremely successful once you get it down. But anyway, we're offering the opportunity here to work with our buddy Nate, who's got a system running, and we're looking for more door knockers, so more people that want to go work on some leads. This is commission only, so you're going to be working directly for, but just like we work commission only. Anybody else, if you don't kill, you don't eat, right? And we just offering the opportunity. So for people out there that want to get into the business, don't know how to get into the business, don't have the money to pay the gurus, don't have the money to pay the organizations and the groups that are out there pitching education, but still want to get in there and want to earn while you learn, then this is a great opportunity for you guys to come in there. Hey, Wendy, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. So why don't we start talking about what we're going to be talking about here?
Okay.
I will let you lead.
All right.
Because you just started a new group.
Yes.
You put up a post yesterday or the day before about a particular LLC that you're starting for a specific type of fund. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about that and let these people know what we're doing?
For sure. So we know a lot of people, it's all about our network. So a lot of people I know, they want to get invested in real estate, but they don't have time. They don't have knowledge. They know that it's a good investment, but they're not ready to kind of jump in and do it themselves. And so this has been an issue like for years and years. So I've partnered with people in the past. We partner with people, whether it be private lenders or true partnerships where they come and fund the whole project. So we do a lot of things like this, but I wanted to bring it down to a smaller scale. So I started up a business LLC, and then I put together a bunch of people that I know. Like right now, this isn't something that we're going to put out to the public or anything. This is not a security or anything. It's just a business that we're all kind of going in on, and that business is going to go buy real estate, of all kinds, because we know how to do buy and hold, we know how to do flips, we know how to do creative, we know how to do all these different aspects, and so I'm helping everybody, a little bit at a time do that. So we're going to create this one, we'll create others, and I think I'm trying to, me, my goal is to have 1,000 millionaires.
Yes.
I want to create 1,000 millionaires. I want to help people, especially our age, retire, because I don't see it. People aren't saving. They don't know how to create cash flow. Even if they've saved up a bunch of money, they don't even know how to turn that into cash flow. They're just sitting on cash. And so it's a big problem, so that's what I want to do. So
Cool.
that's the main.
So basically, Kris is starting a company that's going to be investing in real estate. And what we're doing, or what he's doing, is he's making it available to the general public. He's making it available to the general public in a sense.
In my world.
In his world, right? People that he knows, people that are interested in working with him. Yeah. And the great thing about what he's doing is because he's working with the general public, we're not going after, super rich people. We want the everyday folks, people like I said, millennials, other people like us that maybe don't have a retirement plan or don't have anything set up or want to get in but just don't have that much money to be able to buy in for what, $25K?
Yeah, $25K is the buy-in.
So $25K is the minimal buy-in. I know that he's got it broken down into different sections, and obviously the more you invest, because it's going to be a $500,000 fund?
Yeah, half a million.
So he's raising $500,000, and you can get in with $25,000, and basically you become part owner of the LLC. And you'll be able to then get the profits that you're going to be going from. So this one particularly is going to be more of a buy and hold.
Yeah, because so this first one I want to be safe, secure. So this one's not going to have any debt. It's going to have multifamily, so it's not going to we're going to buy a big house or anything like that. We want to diversify, and then a small part of it will go into flips to help increase the bottom line. Because buy and holds, you're not going to make as big a return on buy and hold as you are fix and flip.
Of course.
But that's the thing, guys. That's what we teach you. You flip for cash, and then you buy and you hold for wealth. So that's key. So the main people, and we've talked about this a lot, the main people I think this helps are people with old retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks. Why don't you tell them what those are?
Well, so before we get into that, I just kind of want to go over a little bit more about what you were talking about. Right. So we're going to have a different section of this show where we're going to be talking about alternative ways, so creative ways to do investments, and that's what he's going to be talking about. However, with this particular fund, this is a great opportunity for a lot of individuals to come in with different sections. Now, we're going to be focusing on multifamily. We're going to be focusing on rental properties because it's going to be more of a secure thing. Yeah. It is not this is not a security. It's not of anything like that. This is an LLC. So you're going to be part owner of an LLC that comes in and buys it. And the great thing about real estate is that it allows us to do these type of transactions. It allows us to be able to help out the average person. A lot of times people come up to me and say, "Hey, Brian, why don't you go get your memorandum, and then you can start going after accredited investors." And I will get there at a point, but at this point, I like helping out the regular Joe, you know, most of my average investors are coming in with about $50,000. I know that we talked about eventually I'm going to be moving that up here in the next few months to my minimum being $100,000, just because we're getting into different types of deals and we're expanding the amount of deals that we're doing. Excuse me. But if you don't have $100,000, but you have $25,000, and you want to be part of a real estate company, that's a great opportunity for anybody to do it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
as long as it's not your last 25,000.
Of course.
A lot of people, you know, you don't put every dime you have into something like this.
No, and this is to, obviously this would be to invest.
Right.
This is not to this is not, like I said, to put all your final eggs in that basket. But there's a lot of people that have $25,000 sitting in the bank somewhere. There's 25 people that have money sitting in CDs right now that ain't paying them shit.
Oh, CDs are bad.
Oh my God.
Stock market. Okay, guys. So stock market's booming, right? It's hard to say anything bad about the stock market. We hit 20,000. We hit 21,000. But if you want to backtrack and look at it, it's the rule of 72. How long is it going to take for you to double your investment, right? The stock market hit 20, right? A couple months ago. When was it at 10? Do you know?
10 years ago, 15 years ago?
1999, right? It was at 10. So it took from 1999 to 2017 to double. Was that 16, 17 years? Yeah. So when you do the math on that, the stock market, on average, 3.9% annualized return, which is crap, guys. It's crap. And that's if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention and you're getting your fee and this and everything, you know, I mean, people aren't, they're getting killed. They're getting killed.
They are getting killed. And if and when the market takes another dip, then they're going to get raped.
Oh, yeah. They're going to get killed. And us, we're going to be ready. We're going to go buy when it's the next dip.
Exactly. But this is the great thing about real estate is that we're able to accommodate everyday folks. We're able to accommodate different types of people to be able to be like, hey, you know, you can partner up with us here. You can be part of this business here. You can do this transaction with us here. So as I said, we're not putting it out there to the general public per se. Kris is doing this on his end through his company. So if it's something that you're interested on that end, and you can message him directly, and obviously he's going to be determining who is a good fit for that company, because you will be part owners of this company.
Right.
So that's a great thing about it. But the great thing about that, which is going to lead us into our next subject, is the people that are investing in that. So the people that have $25,000. You may be watching on the video right now and you'd be like, oh, that sounds good, but I don't have $25K sitting in the bank.
Right.
You know, I don't have that money right now, or I only have X amount of money sitting in the bank, or I do have $25K, but exactly.
Because if they have the 401K or retirement, most jobs that you have won't let you self-direct. So
exactly,
their hands are tied on that, unfortunately.
Exactly. So there is many different ways for people to be able to invest in these type of things, and which brings us to our next subject, which is going to be the creative part of this, a creative investment part of it. So the general public, your everyday Joe, is able to then go ahead and invest with somebody like us, to be able to partner with somebody like us,
right,
and say, hey, this is you know, I want to do this and I want to redirect. So I know that when I was talking to you yesterday, you were telling me that you made that post 2 days ago or something like that. So you made that post 2 days ago, and as of yesterday, you were right about halfway filled up with people that are already committed and already ready to go and be part of that company. So you're still needing about another $250,000. Now, from that conversation, though, you told me that there was a few people that had self-directed or turned their IRA. So we have people right now watching that may have a IRA or 401k at the companies that they currently work, and a lot of those are not going to be accessible to you. A lot of those are already invested. Most of those are in the stock market, by the way, or stocks and bonds.
But what you can do, you can't self-direct those funds, but a lot of them you can borrow against your own fund. So that's where they're going to want to go to their HR department. They're going to say, you know, what are the rules? If it's cheap to borrow from yourself, then that's just another one. We didn't even talk about that one yesterday.
Well,
so.
and that's the thing is that we're going to be going over different scenarios because we have different scenarios each. I have an investor who does one thing. I have a different investor who does something else that's creative. He's got a few money partners and investors that do a few other things that are creative. And then from the conversation yesterday, he was like, hey, man, well, there was, I think you said 2 different people that rolled over their old IRAs
Yep. Mm-hmm.
or their old 401k. So, as I was saying, if you have a 401k right now, then it's not accessible to you for the most part, those particular funds. You do have the option to borrow against it, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But what most people don't know is that your 401ks from your previous jobs, if you didn't roll them over yourself, they're probably still there. And most of the time when they're sitting there, most of the time they're losing money because they're not investing it for you, but they're still charging you the fees for whatever it is.
Yeah, they're not going to place, because you have to tell them where to put your money, so they're not going to put your money anywhere with any sort of risk. They're just so your money's going to sit there. So yeah, literally, I run across people all the time. They have these old IRAs, 401ks, and they're sitting there doing nothing, making nothing, losing money. So yeah, putting those to work.
So you said you had a few people that invested in they're going to be partners in this LLC.
Yes.
That were able to take those old 401ks and then self-direct them or switch them over into an IRA and then self-direct them into the business here.
Right.
To be able to buy a share of this LLC.
Right, and when you're doing that, you're not cashing out. There's no taxes, so you're taking retirement money and you're moving it to another place where it's retirement money.
Yes.
And then from there you put it in an LLC, and from there you can invest in whatever you want.
So your 401ks that's normally what you get at a job.
Right.
Like if you go to a job and they say they got benefits and you're going to get stock options and you're going to get retirement, they're normally going to put that in a 401k. However, you have the option once you leave that job, if you have old 401k sitting there, you have the option to self-direct it into what's known as an IRA, which is a individual retirement account, or investment retirement account, something along those lines. But anyway, that allows you as the investor to then go ahead and invest that money. You can't cash out that money. You can't take out that money and go buy it and spend it on a vacation or do anything like that. You can't say, hey, I have $100,000. I'm going to take it all out and then I'm going to spend 70 on the business and 30 on myself. It doesn't work that way. If the IRS finds out that you're mismanaging that money, even $1 of that money, they're going to tax you on the whole thing. Yeah. And they're going to tax you like if you took it out right now, which is like a 40-50% tax or something
well, it's
stupid
your
like
tax
that, right?
rate plus a penalty. So,
yes.
Yeah, it's going
to be right about 50%. So you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. However, what you could do is you could self-direct it to buy a company like Vanguard or a few other companies that allow you to do self-directed IRAs. Yeah, and then you have the option to then go ahead and choose what you want to invest that money in. Mm-hmm. Understand that it does have to get invested. So you have the option to invest it in, but that's what 2 people did with you. Yes. So 2 people took that money and then they decided to invest it in this LLC. Right. So they're going to be part owners of this company, and this company's purpose is to invest in real estate. And in this particular case, it's going to be a multi-unit that you're going to be, cash flowing from.
Exactly.
So you already kind of have that built in. But in the future, though, we're going to be setting up different properties, companies like that for us to flip, different companies for us to buy apartment complexes, different companies like that. And it may not be 25, it may be $100,000 minimum. It may be a $250,000 minimum. It may be a $50,000 minimum, whichever, depending on the size of the project and what we're doing. But there's a lot of different options. So the first one that got me thinking and kind of got this whole topic today stirring was the 2 people that did it on this company. Right. They took their old 401ks, they self-directed into the IRA, and they decided to then go ahead and invest with you. But then we started talking, and we're like, man, we have a client that did this. We know a guy that did that. We have a guy that did here. Creative. Yeah, people get very creative. So Kris talked about borrowing against your 401k. And that is something that you can do. That is something that you have to talk to your HR department. That is something that you want to be careful with. You want to know what it is, what type of penalties or fees are going to be associated with that. But then you're also going to want to know what type of percentages they're going to be charging you. Hey, Nate, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for joining us here.
There he is. Share it, Nate. Jeff, share it. Share the video.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy? So, hey, Jeff, party animal, Jeff, man. Well, hey, we won't talk about that today, Jeffrey. But anyway, you talked about borrowing against your 401k. Make sure that you find out what it is. Make sure you find out what type of rates you're going to be getting on their, what type of interest you're going to be paying back.
Right. You want to make sure it makes sense,
Exactly. So I have a guy who has stock options. I can't remember what company he worked for, Google or Amazon or one of those companies, but he worked for a pretty big company and he had quite a bit of stock options. So he found out that he could borrow against those stock options, and then he would have to pay back that money like at a certain percentage. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was like 4 or 5% that he was going to be paying this money back at.
So to break it down a little bit, I'm going to assume he wasn't making any money. It was just an option.
Yeah.
With a value.
Yeah.
An option with a value. Okay, go ahead.
So once again, they said that your stock is valued at this much as of right now. So we'll let you borrow up to a certain percentage of that, and you have to pay it back. Right. And then he borrowed way less than he needed to anyway, right? So he ended up partnering up with me on 39th. Right. On the property that we're doing over on 39th. He ended up partnering up with me. So he got that money at that percent. And then I'm paying him a double-digit return, so I'm paying him a lot more percentage than what he's doing. And we're going to have that money back to him before the year mark is done. So he's able to take that money and basically make what's known as a spread. So he's borrowing it. And guys, this is what your fucking bank does. This is what every single guy, when you put a money on a CD account, you're fucking letting them borrow it at that 2%, 3%, whatever. And they're not even paying you that much right now, by the way. That was just a fucking made up number. They're probably closer to like 1% or something on a 5-year.
They're at 1. And if you look at the bank, as you pull up, just look at the signs. Mm-hmm. Here's a CD over here. We'll pay you 1%. Here's a bank loan. Here's a car loan. You pay us 10 or 9 or 8. I mean,
exactly.
You're borrowing your own money, so why not do it for yourself? Be the bank. That's
exactly
what we teach people. Be the bank.
And that's to say, you can take. Hey, Ernest, how you doing, man? Thank you for joining us. You can take the money that you currently have right there, or the value that you currently have, and then go ahead and turn around and use it for them. So anyway, like I said, this guy's paying about 5% on his money. He's making double digits returns. He's making a spread on that money without having to do anything. So he partnered up with me. He let me borrow the money for the rehab on 39th, okay. And he's making a certain amount of return every single month. Obviously, he's paying back that loan plus, and then he gets to keep the difference, which is once again it's a few $100s a month after he pays what he needs to pay over there. Right. But that's on something that wasn't doing anything for him anyway. It was just fucking sitting there. It was just a stock option. It wasn't doing anything.
I have another stock option story.
Yeah.
So I got this other guy, and he's going to take about 300,000, or I guess the amount doesn't matter. What matters is it was enough to pay off his house.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, right? But I'm like, man, what's your interest rate on your house? It's like 3.5%. Like, that's cheap money. That's free money. So I showed him where if instead of doing that, he took that 400, I forget the exact amount, but he take that money, and he would be able to make enough to pay his mortgage for the year. Mm-hmm. Plus, he would make like 30 or 40,000 on top of that. I mean, you can do that. Yes, you can do that, and having a house free and clear would be awesome, but you got to be aggressive, man. Inflation is happening like crazy.
And guys, this is how rich people think. This is how the wealthy of the wealthy think. If you guys follow me personally, Brian, on my personal page, you'll know that a few weeks ago, probably a month ago, I was over in Palm Springs, and I was hanging out with very, very high net worth individuals. The guy, Brian, who was hosting the event at his house, he was worth well over $500 million. And then he was inviting his neighbors and friends that he knew and people that were coming in. There was this one guy who was just amazing, and they were talking to him, and they were like, do you remember your first $100 million deal? And he's like, maybe, I don't know, man. I mean, fuck, it's $100 million, like, whatever. I've had so many of those fucking $100 million deals that it didn't matter, right?
That's crazy.
Every single one of these people was talking about investing and banking on yourself. Every single one of these people had different types of investments that were going to be coming with a different types of investments that we're going to be giving them, passive, or we're going to be giving them a spread. Right. Where they can borrow money. So the guy Brian that we were sitting at his house, super awesome guy, man. The second night, I believe, the first night, they ended up having like a wine tasting at the end. So we were all having glasses of wine, and Brian was having a few, and he was feeling pretty good. So I was like, this is my perfect time to go talk to him. Let me get some information out of him. So I was talking to him, and he's like, dude, fucking Wells Fargo calls me every fucking month and says, hey, we have a line of credit, $100 million, $200 million line of credit. Just use it. Just use it. And he's like, and I already have a bunch of other money that I'm making money on. But I'm going to. I'm just not going to use it yet. But he's going to take that shit out and he's going to borrow that shit at like 3%. Yeah. And then he's going to turn around and lend that shit like at 15% or 10% or 12% or whatever he does, because he was doing like a lot more development deals and land deals and bigger things like that. And a lot of the stuff was, longer term. A lot of the stuff was looking at the growth of the city and buying on the outskirts and waiting for the city to outgrow to where they're at, which is a fucking next level shit.
That's so macro level. I love it.
But the concept was the same. You borrow money at a lower interest, and then you lend it out at a higher interest. And that's something.
Hard money lenders do that.
A lot of hard money lenders do that. Pretty much all hard money lenders do that. I used to think that hard money lenders were super rich guys that just were sitting on a shit ton of money. And no, a lot of it is they borrow money from somewhere else where they can get it really cheap, and then they turn around and lend it to us at a double-digit rate.
Yeah, my number one private lender, my hard money guy, he knows a bunch of rich farmers in Nebraska. Pay him 8, lend it 12. There
Did I tell you about the guy that I met over in Orlando whose brother did the hedge fund?
Yes.
So there was this guy that I met whose brother runs a hedge fund that's almost up to $1 billion, right? So I was like, dude, where does your brother get the money? Turns out that his family is like, his dad is one of the biggest tortilla manufacturers over in like this part of northern Mexico. And then they have a big factory over like in San Antonio or Dallas. I think it was Dallas. Anyway, but he was like, a lot of the tortillas that you eat when you go to restaurants that don't have any names, my fucking family makes them, right? So, yeah, so that was that. Because of his dad, who he was able to go to farmers. He was able to go to like the Jose Cuervo family. He was able to go to a bunch of other people that they know, borrow money at a cheaper rate, and then fucking turn around and lend it at a higher rate.
And those people, they're crazy rich because they know how to make Jose Cuervo. They don't know how to make real estate money. They don't know how to make passive income, So just because they've succeeded doesn't mean that they're done.
So. But the point of that is you can be those guys or you can be your average Joe, your engineers, your school teachers, somebody that's just got, 20, 30,000 sitting aside. My buddy Casey is a great example of somebody that was able to save money throughout the years. So even before I met him, when I met him, even before he was an entrepreneur and making the amount of money that his company does now, he was a bartender at TGI Fridays, but he had a system to save, and he had a few $1,000s, 10, 20,000 or whatever saved, and he was just a fucking waiter. Like he was a bartender, and his girlfriend at that time was a bartender too, and they had some money saved up. So I know he used it to buy certain programs and do something else, but you guys can use it to invest in different types of things, and then in particular, kind of like what your guys did over there.
Right, and then on that same thing, Casey did a deal with me, interest-free credit cards.
Yeah. So we had talked about it, and fucking Casey pissed me off. I love Casey. He's my best friend. He actually got me this shirt here that you guys see, this DBC shirt, because he said it matched my fucking DBC sweater. So anyway, we had talked about that shit with Casey. And Casey's a good example of two different types of, so we'll talk about these two different types of creative things.
Yes.
One of them was the interest-free credit card loan. So Casey's got good credit. Casey has been, like I said, he was able to save up some money. He's got these credit card things that he doesn't hardly ever use. So if you guys have credit cards, if you guys have good credit, you guys know that your credit cards will eventually send you these checks. And then send you these blank checks for $50,000, $80,000, saying, don't you need to buy a new car? Don't you need to upgrade your house? Don't you do whatever? Tempt you, right? And then to tempt you even further, they say, we'll give it to you interest free for the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 18 months, whatever they choose to do. So Casey, we were sitting there, we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I keep on getting these fucking things and blah, 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 and they're just, I don't know what we're going to do. And I said, dude, fucking let me borrow the money, He's like, yeah, well, we will talk about it. I'll talk to my girlfriend and see what she says and blah, blah, blah. So they didn't pull the trigger. They pulled the trigger with you, which is cool, but motherfuckers. Anyway, though, he was able to take that money interest-free. You guys did a deal. He got that money back before he needed to pay that shit back.
Yeah. It was for a year. He had a year.
He had a year.
Before interest. Yeah, it wasn't even due. It was just interest after a year.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Yeah, so if you got good credit.
And then he was able to do that. So he was able to then make the spread the whole interest because he was paying them back no interest. So he took that money that he got from this credit card that came into these checks, like a cash advance that had a X amount of time with no interest, and then he was able to lend it out and use some money that way.
Right. And that'll be back soon. That property's...
Exactly. I had a different deal that I did with him where I bought a house that I was going to flip. It ended up not going the way that I wanted to. It ended up needing more money than I thought, and then it ended up not being able to sell for the price that I thought it was going to sell.
Yeah. That happens.
It happens. Doesn't happen often to me, but that was the first time that it happened. So I reached out to Casey. We were talking, and he's like, you know what? I want to do I want to get into some real estate. I want to get more into some buy and hold stuff. I want to hold some rental properties. And I said, hey, well, I got this property here, and we can connect. So he was able to get a loan out. So I had a hard money loan on the property just to lock it up and do what I needed to do.
Right.
But he was able to get a loan out on that property, and then he was able to then use that. So I think he's paying if I'm not mistaken, I think we were paying 4% on that money. So he put up the credit. We got a loan on that particular property. He put in 4%, and then we're cash flowing on top of that. So whatever we cash flow, exactly. I did all the rehab. I did all the screening, where we did all the property management, everything else, collecting the rent, everything. Casey gets paid out, passive. So he's able to leverage his credit. And then he was able to leverage some money that he had on there by doing these type of things. And like I said, Casey's just your regular average guy. He doesn't come from a wealthy family. He doesn't.
Casey is not your regular average guy.
Okay, well, so Casey's not your average guy. If you guys know Casey, he's one of the quirkiest, amazing, most honest and upfront person that I ever know. He's actually very, why I like him?
Get your point,
yeah, because he's just very himself, and he doesn't give a shit, right? But
he does own a bacon suit.
He does own a bacon suit with a bacon tie, and that fucking tie. Did you see that tie that I posted it on Facebook? The one that he was wearing in Orlando, the one that it was a picture of him when he was fanning out the money and shit like that. No. So Casey, back when he was working at the TGI Fridays or Cheesecake or whatever the fuck he was doing, and he saved up some money. He bought the Preston Ely program. And then he bought the coaching program. He did a deal with Preston Ely, and I think they made $20,000 and they split it or whatever. So his cut was $10,000. So he went out to the bank and he got all $100 bills. Then he fucking taped them all together to make two fans of $100 bills, and he took a fucking picture, right? Then after that, he finds his place where he can make his own custom tie. And he sends that picture, and it's all his tie is just a bunch of those, like a collage of that one picture of him holding up the fucking money like that. Freaking awesome. So anyway, that's a great example of, like I said, your average Joe, everyday person being able to invest. Somebody who doesn't have a few $100,000, somebody who has millions and millions of dollars just sitting there, but has money aside specifically for investing. There's people like that. There's people with the 401ks. There's people like some of our investors.
Yeah, let's do this one. So the next group of people is
let me grab some fucking water.
I mean, especially if you bought in Arizona in the last couple of years, prices have gone up like crazy. So people have equity, and money is cheap still. So you can borrow. You can get a line of credit for 4 or 5%, maybe a little more now. Actually, prices, they did jump, right? So 5-6%, which is still crazy cheap. So if you can make sure you have that spread in there, I mean, I know a lot of people with 100,000 or more in equity. Now, you want to be careful. You don't want to go crazy.
You don't want to leverage all that.
Yeah, I mean, within reason, you want to be able to afford, if worst case scenario, everything goes wrong, and you pull out and you have an extra $300 payment. If you can't afford that, you definitely don't do that. But if you can, I mean, that's a great way to find money.
And I mean, that's no different than what my guy did when he leveraged against his stock options.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, here's what they're worth right now, and you can borrow up to this amount. But he didn't even borrow half of that amount. He just borrowed X amount to put on this deal to be able to partner up with me on this one deal.
Right.
And with the money that he's making there, I mean, it would be a lot more than he was making anywhere else. Now, he did that because worst case scenario, things dropped, he could still go ahead and, put that back in, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. If the stock options drop, it's not like he's going to end up owing them.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Exactly, and obviously with the HELOCs there, with the home equity lines of credit, getting a line of credit borrowed against your property. As I said, we don't suggest that you guys leverage out to the top. But if you guys do have some money in somewhere where you can make the payments, worst case scenario, something happens, then definitely something that you want to look into, because it's the same concept. You're able to borrow money at a cheaper rate than when you're able to lend it out at, and that's what banks do. I mean, that's exactly what banks do. Every time you make a deposit, it's just a 0% loan that you give to your bank. So they're able to take that money and lend it out to anybody else, credit cards or whatever it is. Anytime that you make an investment, anytime that you get in the money market, anytime that you do the CDs that they have in your bank or anything, you're basically lending them at a smaller amount that they can turn around and lend to somebody else in a car loan at a 8%, 10% or whatever, and they're paying 3%, 2%, 1% on their end. So.
And if you're smart, you can take advantage. I mean, and I know HELOCs aren't new. I mean, people know about them. Back in the boom, I saw so many people, they pulled out cash, but they didn't buy investments. They bought boats, and they bought cars, and they bought vacations.
My dad was one. He bought a shit.
I mean, just if you would have put that towards cash flowing real estate, if in the boom you didn't invest in stuff that was negative, I mean, those are the kinds of decisions that people just need to make, because we're having a run up. People have to be careful, so
and that's the great thing about what we do here at the AZ Flip Guys, is that we like to give an opportunity to your average Joe to be part of this industry. Yes. But you need to know what you're doing. You need to know where you're at. One of the biggest mistakes that happened in 2005, 2006, 2007 is that everybody thought they were a fucking genius because you could just buy any fucking deal and it was going to go up, and if you just held it long enough, you were going to make money on it.
Yeah, people were buying off appreciation. They
exactly.
thought they were going to make, they're paying full price, saying, "Oh, it'll be worth more," which it was for a while, when it crashed, I mean, forget about it.
And then all of those investors ended up completely losing their ass.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is that even to this day, like when I go to my barber, I like the guy, super nice old Jewish guy, man. I like him, but he lost his ass during the boom, because he was one of these guys that can do it all himself and everything. Hey, Brad, how you doing, man? Hey, did you ever hear anything about that Havasu pie? We're still fucking waiting over here. Yeah, that
I got it blocked out in my calendar still.
Yeah, we're still waiting to hear from that. But anyway, because he was that type of guy, and my parents were that type of guy. They were out there freaking. They were out there and they took out equity lines of credit. They were buying more houses than they knew how to make the payments. They eventually got into these fucking ARM, the adjusted rate mortgages and stuff like that. And it was just, they got screwed. And the point all of this is because people didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They just were like, oh fuck, we're real estate investors. Yeah, we know how to do this. It's not that hard. Everybody's doing it. My neighbor's doing it. Right. And when I went to that thing over in Palm Springs, I noticed there was this guy who was talking, who was actually my new mentor now that I've been working with and kind of following. And dude, this guy's a shit, dude. This guy's a fucking shit.
I can imagine the personal stories.
Man, yes.
His public stories are
Awesome,
out of this world.
So I haven't got to the personal stories yet. I'm still working my way in there, but super fucking awesome guy. He does a lot of investing, and he was talking about seasons, and he was talking about how this thing is a season, and basically right now we're about to enter we're in the summer where everything heats up, everything is going, and then he's like, where it's about to go from summer to fall because your cab drivers are giving you investment tips. Because people start feeling more comfortable. And that's the one thing with the market going up right now. People are starting to feel themselves on the stocks. Oh, I'm making some money. This going up, blah, 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 blah. But those are the same people that eventually are going to end up losing their ass.
They are, because they don't get education. They think they could, like you said about the last guy, you can do everything, right? There's a workshop every week here. Every weekend, fortune builders or all these companies are coming in, and they're teaching people, and they're going to get caught. So that's why partner with a pro, right? I mean, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're going to go dump your life.
Hey, Ebony, make a fucking meme and a little thing, partner with the pro. I like that. There you go.
It's true. I mean,
hashtag partner with the pro.
We've been through all the shit. I mean, we've been through a downturn. We've seen it. And that's why we're being careful. We don't want to go crazy. We want to have safe investments. If the market dips, what does our guy Jeff say? I don't live on net worth. I live on cash flow. So we're going to own. My fund is going to own this multifamily real estate. If the value of it goes down, it doesn't matter because it's cash flow. It's long term. We don't want it to, but eventually it'll. Every 12 to 15 years, Phoenix real estate doubles on average. So you're going to be up, you're going to be down, but long term, the $70K it's going to make. This year, in 15 years, it's going to be making $150,000. So that's why I just buy and hold forever. You want to retire, that's a great way.
And like I said, guys, what we're doing here is we're just giving you a who's this?
Who we got? Seth.
Hey, man, how's it going? So basically, what we're talking about here is we're talking about different ways to be able for the average Joe to be able to partner up with us, to be able to come in on the money side of things, to be able to be like, hey, you know what, I don't have $100,000, but I do have $25,000, and I would be interested in owning part of a real estate or a piece of this company that's going to invest in real estate and get the profits from that. I believe, like I said, that's a great thing. Being able to say, hey, I have this old 401k from that job. And most people nowadays, I mean, we don't live at the time where our grandparents, when somebody stayed at their fucking job. And even if you're that type of person that's loyal to your company and wants to stay with your job, the chances of them letting you go all the way to retirement are slim to none at this point. They'll be like, hey, fuck off. We don't need you no more. We found somebody else. We're sending you, we're outsourcing over to India or the Philippines or,
right.
I know my cousin is in Guatemala and he works for a call center that does stuff for here in the U.S. So he speaks English and kind of does through the whole fucking thing. But anyway, those type of people that are constantly going and because of the way the economy is, because of the way that the job market is now, you're going to be switching from jobs to jobs. Those old 401ks that you had in your old jobs, they don't disappear. They're there. They're still, most of them still have money. You may even get letters on the mail. I know I have letters in the mail. I got this one from Verizon Wireless. I worked for them for like, I don't know, man, 9 months or some shit like that. So it's like $1,500. It's nothing major. But I do keep on getting messages from Fidelity saying, hey, you got this money here. At the end of every year you have it. So you know that they're there, but they're not doing anything. You guys can take that money and invest it and be able to put it on there. So actually I talked with my accountant, and we're going to take that one and we're going to make it my self-directed IRA, and I'm just going to be able to put and invest from there.
Solo 401k, that's the new thing. I'm going to learn more about that. It's supposed to be better than a 401k, and you can have higher distributions, and it's a lot more versatile, and it's supposed to be better. So I'm gonna dive into that. Hey, if anybody's out there, if you're a pro on this, if you work for Vantage or Intrust or any of these places, I know JP Dada is a EO guy. I mean, we would love to reach out, and I think this would be a great training because this affects like everybody, So.
Yes, and that's basically what we have here for today, guys. Yeah. We're talking about the fund that Kris started, which once again he's about halfway done. with that fund. So if you guys want to get in on it, you better let him know. Hey, our buddy TC over there from San Diego. Hey, TC, brother, I'm thinking of fucking going down to San Diego first week of April, and I want to go do the fucking parasailing.
I want to do that
So make sure that you hit up your boy and you get that shit all lined up, because this time I'm fucking doing it. So I tell you, last time I went, the first time I was like, you know what, I need to see it all before I fucking do it. Then everything was cool. Then we had it locked up for me to actually go do it, and the fucking wind died down like an hour before.
Wasn't meant to be.
Oh man, it didn't. So yeah, all
Let's
right.
have a show.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. But hey, bro, I'll let you know for reals when I'm going in there. I'll be staying down where I stayed at last time over in downtown, so we can connect when we go there, and we'll take the train or whatever. We'll meet up. So
Tentatively, La Jolla, summertime maybe. We're gonna have a little lazy foot, guys.
yeah, we need to lock it down. We need to see exactly when we are. But yeah, we're planning on going down to San Diego, La Jolla area, and just having an AZ Flip Guys event. And just meeting investors out there, people that are over in the Southern California market that are looking to get better returns than what they get over there.
Right,
and,
it's
and be
hard for a
able to
lot of
still do
people.
it.
It's hard for a lot of people to invest in SoCal because you need 500,000 and up. So
Well, the competition is pretty high, and then exactly you need a whole lot more money to be able to move. The guy that I told you that would be able to fund our stuff for that cheaper price, hopefully in May. He said that he'll fund that shit in fucking anywhere in SoCal if we come across. With the same terms that we talked about last time. So yeah, buddy. But anyway, guys, we wanted to, like I said, talk about what Kris was doing, just kind of give you that, and because of that, it stemmed on this other subject about being able to creative what you have. So being able to use, like I said, the credit card advances that they give you at 0 to low interest rate that you can get for X amount of months, the 401ks that you have, turning them into self-directed IRAs, and then being able to partner up. What is Jeffrey?
he's trying to get you to not parasail.
Oh, don't worry about that, Jeffrey, bro. Shit.
TC will take care
yeah,
of it.
TC will take care of me. And so TC's buddy's like a fucking pro, man. Like, this guy could do that shit with his fucking eyes closed. Been doing this shit forever. So he's actually an instructor out there. So yeah, super excited, man. Super excited to go and fucking do it. And yeah, you go over the ocean, and it does like this big old loop. So it's like this cliff. And you run off this shit, right? And then it lifts you up, and you go over the ocean, and you kind of make like this big old half circle, and kind of come back around, and then you can go the other way, which I believe he said was like a golf course or something like that, and then come back down. So
That sounds like fun.
Fuck yeah, man! I'm excited. So anyway, we're thinking about doing something over in San Diego. We'll keep you guys on the loop. Next Saturday, we're going to do a AZ Flip Guys live video. So we're going to do a walkthrough. That's going to be on a Saturday. We'll let you know exactly the time once we get it, so make sure you stay tuned. Make sure if you guys are on the AZ Flip Guys, if you guys like the AZ Flip Guys page, make sure that you go on that like section, and then make sure that you hit follow. So you guys are staying on tune with all of our stuff that we're doing. We're not putting up bullshit. We're not pitching bullshit. We're just putting out content out there. So if you guys want to keep in touch with us, Ebony's constantly doing our different memes that we're doing. Oh, nice. That's the clean out for the Carroll property.
Oh.
I got that shit. Yeah, so I ended up wholesaling that thing because I didn't want to put that much money into, that big of a rehab. And I'm finishing up 16th. Actually, that one should be done here in the next few days.
Oh,
that was a big fucking project. That one's going to be fucking nice. And then we have that one over there that's a big project. So I didn't want to take that one on. So anyway, I wholesaled it, and then I was like, I don't know if they're going to want this shit in the back or not. My buyer was like, I don't want that shit in the back. But I talked to somebody in my network, reached out to her, and she was like, yeah, I got this company that does clean out, and we'll take all that shit for scrap. So
nice.
Perfect. It worked out great. So yeah, we're getting it all settled up, and then we should be able to close on that one on Monday. So nice.
Like 4 or 5 closings?
Yeah, man, I know. Well, it's about fucking time because I didn't have nothing closed in February. They just all fucking dragged out. I mean, a lot of those should have closed in February, but it is what it is. And that's the great thing about, having and this is just a little side tangent, by the way, but this is the great thing about having that personal development background and being able to have control of your mind and being able to have that mindset because, trust me, this last month, because things didn't close, like my mind really wanted to start,
doubting yourself,
and what's going on and how you're going to pay this and how you're going to do that. And it was just like having to learn to be like, enough. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We're not gonna worry about it. You know, we got the Haiti trip that we got to worry about. We got these kids that got a lot more fucking problems than your stupid ass. I can't pay my thing this month or whatever. Which everything got paid, everything got done. It was just that bullshit part of your brain that kind of goes with it. So anyway, big shout out to Jeff Fagan for being able to help us out. Hey, Amy, how you doing? So
You're late.
what was that?
She just joined us. I just said.
Oh, no. Jeff said flyboards is what to try. I do. I want to try that too, man. I definitely want to try that too. But just the being in the air and just quiet and floating, yeah, that's so much more fun here. So anyway, guys, we want to let you guys know what it is that we were doing. We want to let you guys know the different ways that you guys can potentially partner up with us, as we're always out here looking to partner up. So if you guys got deals, send them over. We're obviously buying. If you guys have any money and want to partner up with us in any of the facets that we talked about, want to get a little bit more information about how to do some of these things that we talked about, some of these creative ideas of how to do it, because you do have to do it right way, especially when you're doing like the 401k and the IRA stuff. There is certain ways to do it to make sure that you don't get yourself in trouble and anything else. And obviously from our end, we want to make sure that everything's done the correct way.
Yeah, and on that fund, part of it, a majority of it is going to be passive income, those kind of properties, but a small part of it is going to be funding flips. So
Nice.
It's not going to be funding my flips. So we're looking for deals. So if you got a house and you want to flip it instead of just wholesale it, we can be your gap funder on that. We can be your so that's
Perfect.
another option.
Let me see. Fiberglass is still in your ass. Oh man, she was helping clean out the Carroll property actually. So she got up on the attic and there was a lot of fiberglass, and she's like, I went home and took a shower, but you might have not fucking you might have to fucking sit on the tub for a while and just let that shit soak out of your asshole, because.
Right.
So anyway, guys, this is the AZ Flip, guys. Make sure you guys stay tuned with this. Make sure you guys make sure you guys share this on your page. Share that to your friends and family so they know what's going on. Because as I said, guys, we're working with average, everyday people.
Yes.
And we want to give them an opportunity to be able to grow their money, to be able to expand their money, to be able to be part owners of a business. To be able to partner up with professionals who are currently doing this and be part owners of a business. And like I said, in the future, we're going to be doing different types of LLCs where we're going to be doing for flips, we're going to be doing for apartment complexes, we're going to be doing for different types of things that we're moving forward. So anyway, CashFlow Kris,
yes.
BP the mentor, our buddy Darius here, who'll be talking to us hopefully in a few weeks about your infinite banking and banking on yourself. This shit is fucking crazy. So anyway, guys, AZ Flip, guys, catch you guys later. Peace.